All right, so buckle up, everyone, because today we are diving deep into, well, the art of seduction.
Hmm.
But, hold on, before you skip ahead, we're not just talking about, like, your dating apps here.
Right.
We're going full psychology deep dive today with Nat Eliason's notes on Robert Greene's work. This is about influence, persuasion, the works.
Absolutely. It's Greene's playbook on, well, it's like he's giving you the keys to this whole hidden world of power dynamics. And to crack the code, he says, you got to start with these seductive archetypes, these characters in the game.
Okay, so paint me a picture here. Who are these characters, these, like, secret agents of charm we're dealing with?
Well, you've got your classic rake, who comes to mind, like a James Bond type, right?
Yeah.
Irresistible charm, dash of danger, always leaves them wanting more.
Right, right. The classic bad boy. Got it. Who else?
Then you've got the ideal lover archetype. This is someone who figures out exactly what their target desires, and boom, they embody it.
So, like a chameleon of desire.
Exactly. But it's not just surface level. It's about tapping into those deep-seated needs and desires. Each archetype, they have their own method, their own special kind of allure. It's fascinating stuff.
Okay, so are we talking like nature versus nurture here? Are we born into these roles, or is it more about like you can cultivate these qualities?
That's the exciting part. Greene's whole thing is it's about self-cultivation. You can hone these seductive qualities, become more aware of your strengths and how to use them strategically.
So less about fitting into a specific mold and more about mastering these tools of attraction. I like it.
Yes, exactly. It's about harnessing your inner siren, or dandy, understanding the psychology behind these archetypes to become more persuasive and influential. And this applies to like every aspect of life, not just, picking someone up at a bar.
Okay, so you've got my attention. This is like next level power moves we're talking about here.
Yeah.
But there's always a flip side, right? What about the anti-seducer? The ones who make us cringe.
Oh, absolutely. Greene doesn't hold back there. He calls them out. You've got your brute, way too aggressive, your suffocator, overly clingy, the moralizer, oh, they try to control you with guilt trips. Ugh, the worst, right?
Oh, I've met them all, and yeah, not a good look.
And that's exactly why self-awareness is so crucial. Recognizing these traits in ourselves is the first step to banishing them for good and becoming, well, more genuinely attractive.
So this whole archetype thing, it's like holding up a mirror, right? To ourselves and to the people around us. But how do we figure out who we're actually dealing with out there in the wild?
That's where Greene's victim types come in. He's got 18 different profiles, each with their own set of vulnerabilities and desires, like a map of the human psyche.
Okay, wait, hold up. Victim types. That sounds a little, I don't know, a little predatory when you put it like that.
It's not about being predatory. It's about understanding, okay? It's about how certain personality types might be more susceptible to specific forms of influence. Like you've got your disappointed dreamer, they're craving excitement, adventure, right? They might be more vulnerable to Rake's, charms.
Okay, I see what you mean.
And then there's the crushed star. They long for adoration, so they might be drawn to someone who embodies that ideal lover archetype.
So it's all about recognizing these patterns, not to be manipulative, but to be more aware.
Yes, it's like having a decoder ring for human behavior. And that can help us navigate our relationships, personal and professional, with more, awareness and intention.
All right, so we've got our seductive archetypes, our players in the game, we've got our, like, potential victims. Now, how about the game plan? How does this whole seduction thing actually go down?
Greene, he lays it all out in 4 phases. Each one is like, it's a calculated move, a step in the dance of influence.
Okay, so walk me through these power plays. I'm ready.
You got it. Phase 1, separation. This is where you're piquing their interest, right? Setting yourself apart from the crowd.
Yeah.
It's all about creating that initial spark.
So a little mystique goes a long way, right? We're talking like the art of illusion almost.
Yeah. Exactly. Think of it like, well, have you ever seen a magician? They use misdirection. They make you look one way while something else is happening. You can't get it, but you're hooked.
Okay, I'm with you. So less is more in the beginning stages.
Right. Less available, less predictable. The less you chase, the more interesting you become. Remember, scarcity, it creates value. Like, if you see a diamond on every street corner, is it still precious?
I see your point. Okay, so playing hard to get, it's a classic for a reason. But how do you actually create that aura of being desired, without being obvious about it?
It's about subtlety. It's about the signals you send, like,
Yeah.
paying attention to other people, but in a way that sparks a little jealousy maybe. Greene even uses this example of like paying attention to the sister, to get the target's attention. Bold move.
That's playing with fire a bit, isn't it? But I get it. It's about creating that, like, triangular desire.
There you go. It's not about being cruel. It's just, you're creating that aura that you're desired, but not easily possessed.
Got it. A little intrigue goes a long way. So what's next? What's phase 2 of this whole seduction dance?
Phase 2, lead astray. This is where you deepen the intrigue, keep them guessing. It's all about unpredictability.
Okay, so less reliable, more spontaneous. Is that what you're saying? It sounds a little risky to me.
There's always an element of risk. But think about it this way. Greene says, dogs are reliable, a seducer is not. If you're too predictable, it gets boring.
I guess familiarity breeds, well, not contempt, but maybe a little boredom sometimes, right?
Exactly. It's about keeping things exciting, a little unpredictable. Keep them on their toes.
I like it. But, I mean, how much is too much? How do you know when you've gone too far?
Ah, that's the art of it. It's all about reading the room, or rather, reading the person, knowing how far is too far. Intuition.
Okay, so there's definitely a theme here with this whole seduction thing. It's like calculated risks and mastering those subtle cues.
You're getting it. Now, phase 3, things get interesting.
Hit me with it.
The precipice. This is where we build a deeper connection, a real emotional bond.
Okay, so things are getting serious. I'm guessing this is where, like, vulnerability comes into play.
Exactly. But it's got to be calculated vulnerability. You're sharing secrets, taking risks together. This builds trust and intimacy.
Okay, so you're building a bridge of shared experience, but also testing the waters a bit.
You got it. It's a delicate dance, but when it's done well, it creates this powerful connection. And then, of course, comes the final phase, the grand finale.
The kill. That sounds intense. This is where things get a little more, physical? Is that what we're talking about here?
Not necessarily. Remember, we're not just talking about romantic conquests here. The kill, it's about achieving that desired outcome, whatever it may be. It's about sealing the deal.
So we could be talking about anything from, like, closing a business deal to convincing your neighbor to finally, take care of that tree that's about to fall on your house.
Exactly. It's about capitalizing on that connection, that influence that you've built.
Yeah. So we've gone from, like, sparking that initial curiosity to building trust to ultimately getting what we want. But how do we make sure we're using these seduction strategies ethically? This is starting to sound a little manipulative if we're not careful. I mean, that's the big question, isn't it? How do we walk that line? How do we use this, like, playbook of seduction, but for good?
It all comes down to intention, right? If you're coming from a good place, if your goal is to actually connect with someone, to inspire them, to help them, then these techniques, they can be incredibly effective.
So less about, like, control and manipulation and more about building those genuine connections, those bridges.
Exactly. It's like, yeah, you're playing a game, but the goal isn't just to win. There's something bigger at play. You're playing a game with a purpose.
I like that. Okay, so let's say you're trying to pitch a business idea, something you're really passionate about.
Perfect example. You could use separation right out of the gate. Don't just lay all your cards on the table, build some hype, create that sense of exclusivity, pique their curiosity.
So it's about highlighting the potential impact, but maybe not revealing all the details right away.
Right. Make them want to lean in, make them eager to hear more. Then, when you do make your pitch, that's where lead astray comes in. Hit them with some unexpected data, some unique angle they haven't considered.
So you're keeping them engaged, constantly challenging their assumptions.
Exactly. It's about getting those mental gears turning. And then, when it comes time to actually hammer out the details, that's the precipice.
Okay, the stakes are getting higher.
Right. But this is where you build that real trust. Share some of your own vulnerability. Let them see your commitment, your passion. Create that sense of shared vision,
So you're saying, like, don't be afraid to show a little bit of that human side.
Exactly. Authenticity, that's huge.
Yeah.
And then, boom, the kill becomes less about, closing the deal and more about this natural culmination of all that trust and influence you've built.
They're not just signing on the dotted line, they're bought into the whole vision.
That's the power of seduction when it's done right. It's inspiring, not manipulative.
Wow, this has been eye-opening. So we've gone from seduction as this, like, almost taboo topic to, like, a framework for positive change. I like it.
It's about understanding the psychology of connection. We can use that knowledge to build bridges, to collaborate, to achieve amazing things. It's pretty powerful stuff when you think about it.
Absolutely. It's been a pleasure diving deep into the art of seduction with you. Thanks for sharing all these insights with us.
Anytime. The pleasure was all mine. Just remember, keep your eyes open. The world's a fascinating place, full of these subtle dynamics. Pay attention, be mindful, and who knows what you can achieve.
Great advice to end on. And to everyone listening, thanks for joining us for another deep dive. Until next time.